Hello, my name is Femi, and you're welcome to Easy Ophthalmology. In the next few minutes, I will attempt to share my understanding on two important topics in ophthalmology. Let's begin with the visual pathway, and we'll share these two important roles. They form the foundation of what I'm about to describe. The first role, visual, inf- visual field information crosses to opposite side. As simple as that. Rule number two, nerves in the optic pathway, they maintain their sight. Now we use this illustration to describe it. We have the two eyes, the temporal left side, temporal right side, and the nasal area. Here comes the first row. Visual field information coming from the left side of the face goes to the right side of the retina. Alternatively, I can describe this as visual information coming from the temporal side of the left eye will land on the nasal aspect of the left eye. Let's look at this. It's still a ray of light from the left side of the face going to the right side of the right retina. Or I can describe it as this information is coming from the nasal aspect of the right eye and is landing on the right on the temporal aspect of the right eye. Is the same thing. Visual information coming from the left side, oh sorry, from the right side of the face and to the left side of the retina. So just understand it. Either you're describing it with respect to the eye or you are describing it with respect to the face. It's the same thing. There is a crossover. And this forms a nice W. Now we'll go to the nerve row. That nerves in the optic pathway, they maintain their side. Now this is a fiber from the left lateral geniculate nucleus. It maintains its side because it supplies the left side of both eyes, the left side of both retina. Now look at this one from the right lateral geniculate nucleus. It maintains its side and supply the right side of both retina. Now we have a nice WIXI. This is easy. It's easy to draw once you have a good understanding of the light rule and the nerve rule. And this is all you need for you to start picking the effect of lesion at various points in the visual pathway. Now let's look at this. The behind the eye up to the optic chiasma, we have our optic nerve. Right behind the optic chiasma, we have the optic tract, and behind that, we have the optic radiation. But for simplicity, we will remove the optic radiation so that we can discuss lesion at the level of tract, optic chiasma, and the optic nerve. Now, when there is a lesion at the level of the tract, now remember, the nerve, they don't cross over. So when there is lesion in the left tract, the left side of both retina is affected. Here is the tricky part. The information coming from the right side of the face will not be seen because they are landing on the left side of the retina. However, the visual information from the left side of the face is perfectly seen. There is no problem with that. And this is the correct visual field representation of left optic tract lesion. Now, what this represents is this. White represents sight, black represents blindness. Every information from the left side of the face can be seen, whereas every information from the right side of the face cannot be seen. And this is what we call homonymous hemianopia. The same side of both eye is blind. or half of the eye can see half of the eye and blind on the same side. Now let's consider this other one, that's lesion on the right track. The right side of the retina is affected, but information from the left side of the face is affected. And this is the representation. This simply shows that every information coming from the left side of the face, the eye is blind to it. Both eye cannot see it, but both eyes can see information coming from the right side. When there is a lesion at the level of the optic chiasma, maybe as a result of compression from adenoma, for example, prolactinoma, when we extend what we have here, we will see that the nasal side of both retina is affected. So visual information coming from the temporal sides, because they will land on the nasal sides, they cannot be visualized. Instead, information coming from the nasal angle of both eye, because they will land on the temporal side, they can be clearly seen, and this is the correct visual field representation. Both temporal areas, that's information coming from both temporal angle of each eye. The eye is blind to it, but information coming from the nasal side can be seen perfectly, and this is what we are called the bitemporal hemianopia. Blindness at the two temporal parts of both eye, or each temporal part of the eye. And when there is a lesion at the level of the optic nerve, information from the temporal and from the nasal side will be affected, and we have total blindness. This is another representation. Lesion at the level of the optic nerve will give you total eye loss. Lesion at the level of the optic chiasma will give you bitemporal hemianopia, while lesion at the level of the tract, that's number 4, will give you homonymous hemianopia. Lesion at the tract will give you homonymous hemianopia with macular sparing. You can pause this and get a feel of this question. The second important topic I would like to discuss in ophthalmology is retinopathies. But before we go to the pathologies, I would like us to appreciate the normal retina. This is what a normal retina looks like. In fundoscopy, we have the nice optic disc, the macular area, the nice blood vessels, and the rich background. Now, in contrast to the pink background we saw, let me step back so that we'll see it again. When we move forward, we see that the whole of the retina here is pale. And this is because there is no blood in the retina as a result of blockage of the artery that is bringing blood into the retina. This is central retinal arterial occlusion. The first thing that you will see, it's immediate when you see this type of picture. Why is the retina so pale? That question alone is already driving us towards the answer. So we have pale retina. Now there is a red spot, and that area is not receiving blood from the retinal artery. So that's why it's still rich, it's looking very pink, and that's what we call the cherry red spot. And we have segmentation because of the decrease in the volume of blood in the retina, in the retinal artery. There is segmentation and attenuation of the retinal arteries. So you can look at this. Now next we'll go to the broader central retinal vein occlusion. In this case, the retinal artery is okay, or usually there is compression from an arteriosclerotic retinal artery on the vein. So the blood is not able to move out of the eyes. Now, what we have is macular edema, dot blots, flames, hemorrhages. Now, remember this NED, macular edema. D, just keep it as dot blots, flame. Is a good way to memorize it. It fits perfectly into hypertensive retinopathy because in addition to macular edema and the dot blots hemorrhages, you have silver wiring. Just look at it like you're seeing a bunch of wires crossing over each other everywhere. A bunch forming cotton wool. That is all. So in addition to macular edema and dot blood hemorrhages, we have silver wiring. We have AV nicking, where the arteries causes an indentation on the veins. Then we have cotton wool spots. That's AV nicking at that junction there. Now we go to the next one, diabetic retinopathy. I developed this mnemonic, December VVF, to remember it perfectly. December VVF, DEC VVF, and December is the 12th month of the year, so 1 plus 2. Because there are three phases of the diabetic retinopathy. We have the background phase or the non-proliferative state. These are just named synonyms. Background or non-proliferative. We have our dot blot, that's D. Anywhere you see D in this mnemonic is dot blot hemorrhages. And E is ad exudate. Now, anytime you see cotton wool, in addition to D and C, you are already at the pre-proliferative phase of diabetic retinopathy. Now, in the proliferative phase of diabetic retinopathy, you have your dot bloods, hemorrhages, ad exudate, and cotton wool spots. In addition to this, you have your new vascularization, vitreous hemorrhages, and floaters. Retinitis pigmentosa, diagnosis in a young man who presents with progressive vision loss, night blindness, and there is a history of the father losing his sight completely before the age of 50. This is a classical presentation in many of the questions I've seen. And you see those periphery, the dark spots, that's the the pigmentation we're talking about, pigmentation on the retina. So around the outside of the retina, those black spots, that's retinitis pigmentosa. This is a summary of the of the retinopathies. Thank you very much for listening. I hope we gained something. Have a good evening and compliments of the season. Cheers.